Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Harakakadash. That want to see apostles and elders of Great Muslim that rule well. And Shalom to the brothers doing work concerning truth. Got this article on my New York Post talking about, these sex parties, these orgies that be going on. Because it's become more evident over time. Because, people insiders have done been talking about it from day. But now it's getting exposed. It's getting put out on a wider scale. This is a lot of what goes on behind the scenes, especially with these guys. To get into positions of power, they'll they might develop certain technologies. They might have money and get in certain fields. And when they get on a certain level, then they'll start getting involved in these these various kind of gatherings where men are going to be doing all kinds of criminal activities together, man. And it harkens back to that ancient Roman, these customs they used to do, where you get a bunch of guys getting together, well, guys and women as well, just doing criminality together. So it says inside the sex parties loved by Silicon Valley tech titans. It says after it was revealed that Bob Lee, the tragically murdered founder of Cash App, that guy was found, dead as a doornail. And I think they said there was drugs in his system. It says what reportedly indulged in underground sex and drug parties. Sources said that he was one of many Silicon Valley types to take in a freewheeling swinger scene. And that's a lot of what goes down as well. Is they'll just be going around and just passing around, their wives and whatnot, and that's something that it's been the weirdest shit from day, but it's been a thing in what do you call it, in this society. It's like you can look online, there'll be like forums and whatnot where people are talking about it, and it's just like man will have agreements to just have some guy come in and stiff in their wife, which is fucking madness when you when you meditate on that. You're like, what the fuck's going on here? But there's a lot of facets of society where it's been degraded, and the family unit, the household, that's a big one that's been smashed, and that's been an objective for the longest, to basically crumble that household structure. So instead of building the unit, they're building the society, man. They're building maybe the place they work at, whether they might attach to some government, some political issue, and be like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna define me in my life. So they'll be 83 with no family and shit. But so it says sources claim that so-called lifestyle, which is built around sexual openness, experimentation with drugs, and a general sense of promiscuous behavior, is not uncommon among a certain sector of tech executives and entrepreneurs. And you had like a lot of those hashtag Me Too things as well, because obviously these guys, and it's been for the longest where you wanted to get in the industry. A lot of women having to go to the casting couch, these things, and get whopped in to get entered in, and like a lot of that's coming out. It was like that's why they choke slammed the hell's the guy's name, Harvey Weinstein, got choked, got tombstoned into jail. He got power bombed into jail. They DDT, because why? Because he was like a big what do you call it? He was a big figurehead in doing that, and that's why they had to take out. Epstein got fucking removed from the face of the planet Earth, because these guys are like bookkeepers, kind of. They're the organizational guys. They get shit taken care of. But then on a lower level, you're gonna have people that aren't in those rings, but then they're just kind of out and about, They're not in the circles, but they'll be out and about and able to to indulge in a madness on a lower level. What does it say? It says one Silicon Valley insider recalled attending a regular sex bash, popular with the high-tech crowd, heard in what seemed to be a typical Bay Area warehouse, and went on. No, what went on there was anything but typical. On an upper level was a play space with mattresses inside and towels outside. The insider told the Post it was like going to a tech party, except that everyone took off their clothes and went upstairs for sex. The insider explained that for at least some in attendance, it's a whole new world. There is a viewpoint that the geeks who turn into millionaires and now have something open to them, opportunities for sex and drugs, in a way that it had not been before, said the insider. A lot of these folks were nerds. Yeah, so and the reason that these cultures develop is because it trickles down from the top, man. This is the way the elites conduct themselves, and it's funny because, you know, it's the weirdest shit ever. Well, it comes down to what society has been shifted to focus on is things that aren't fulfilling, man. Like, if a lot of people will, even if you're like a CEO, you might be a CEO of a company, but I don't mean like you own the company or you're gonna run that. You might run that shit for like 2 years, and then you just have to go out and find someone else to work for. Even if you might be nice for money, but then especially when you these guys getting these salaries, getting 20 million of bonuses yearly and shit, they're gonna have a certain lifestyle they're gonna need to maintain. They might be sitting on like 120 mil, but then it'll be like, okay, they ain't even gonna really do them for too long because they're thinking about going upstairs, going to a penthouse suite, and then bank, and doing criminal acts. But the lifestyle will change with it, and that's like these guys are all emulating what is they're basically seeing from the elite level, to where they're basically indulging in hedonism, but then it's hedonism. You ain't even really gonna get anything from it. It will satisfy you for a while, but then afterwards you're gonna find you're still lacking. But okay, so that says what? And like it said, these guys. It's all brand new, man. But then what? That's the thing with this shit anyway. Is like for the elites. This is Mrs. Claus's buy. So you know what's going down. Criminal activities. But for the elites, there's purposes to these things. These things will be observations. They'll be doing it in forms of venerating certain powers. They're doing it in to try and empower the left-hand side. A lot of the sex magic goes into them trying to achieve certain goals, them trying to basically push out certain vibrations into the world. They're doing it for a purpose, even though it's just performing criminal acts upon children for a purpose. But then it's like a lot of these guys, they're just basically just been drawn in, man. They're just doing it for the pleasure of it. Says in her book Brotopia, Breaking Up the Boys Club in Silicon Valley, Emily Chang writes about a circuit of drug and sex parties that draw the high-tech elite founders and first-round investors to mansions and chateaus for bacchanal-worthy activities. She describes big shots bragging about how they're overturning traditional paradigms in their private lives, just as they do in the technology world they rule. Chang's book reveals that frisky activities usually begin with cuddle puddles. Groups of people laying around in tight proximity to one another, often with their inhibitions loosened by Molly. So drugs, man. So it's and this is the thing is, this is like within Esau's realm, this is the peak of what you can be getting into, man. This is the peak of what you know, satisfaction you're going to be getting from life. Getting into drugs, what you call it? Getting into drugs, and then lying around, you know, just having doing criminal acts. These guys gonna be going around popping men, popping women, doing all kinds of madness. And that's, you know, that's all that they have to offer. But then, like I said, these things come from the top down, because when the elites are doing it, they're doing it for a purpose. You know, what's the eyes wide shut? These men are getting together. It's like, you know, the orgies are happening, but then there's also the observations, the ceremonies, and then, you know, people be getting slain at these ceremonies, man. And that's the thing is with, you know, how the elites have set these things up. And there's a few, you know, there's a few TV shows, a few movies that kind of go into it. Because I remember, like, the first season of oh, what's it called, man? Detective True, was it True Detective? True Detective, I believe it's called. Not even that criminally. The first season of True Detective, it was about, like, you know, a kid that was an adult. He was like a bastard or something, or he's one of the kids of one of those guys in power. And then he was, you know, he'd obviously been around these events, but it was what the guys like buying, like bringing, you know, van loads of women to these different discreet locations, you know, for a bunch of men them to be rolling through and doing crime. But you know, and this is the degeneration, because it's the same thing as what was going down in, like, Rome and Greece, where it's as society's on the decline morally, then all this, you know, all this shit becomes normalized, man, or even venerated, because really this is being venerated. Man, drop dead, you know, fuck, you know, innit? What the hell, the fuck was going on? But okay, read this. Ecclesiasticus 10:1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the rule of a city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's why we're seeing, you know, these things popping off. Because why? Because the judge is Esau. Esau's got that head roll, man. He's the ruler of that city, that great city, Babylon. Then you see how does he conduct himself? Then everyone else follows after that image. He's got everyone what? Chasing money, chasing pleasures, which is really to their own destruction, man. And if you're going around, you know, snorting drugs, shooting up, smoking weed all day, and then going off to raves and just banging everything that moves, you're destroying inside your own self, man. You're basically defiling yourself. But now these things are seen as you know, something that's worth reverencing. It's just like with a lot of the movies and music. A good example is The Wolf of Wall Street. That's actually the perfect example, because that film is basically like guying an insight into the guy where he was, all he'd do is get high on drugs, throw parties, and then just bang broads and whatnot. But then what's you know, did it even amount to anything? Did it even gain anything from it? Nah. It was thingy, man. He was the guy ended up thrown in jail, man, losing his mind. But that's what people aspire towards. That's the new style of the American dream, man. Whereas, like, you know, the car, the house, the white picket fence, the dog, the 2 kids and the wife. That's not what it is anymore. So, you know, it's living some being being a influencer on social media, being a pop star, a movie star, something, and then living, driving supercars, flying overseas, being like, oh, I want to go to an island, and it's like these are the things that are now deified. That's what everyone's aspiring towards. But then, what's the reality? Everyone's faking the funk on social media, and they're all depressed and bugged out in their minds, man. It says what? Free an unwise king destroyeth his people, and through the prudence of them which earn authority, the city shall be inhabited. Yeah, that unwise king destroys his people, because that's what is going on. That's why that guy dropped fucking dead in his apartment. Because why? He was following a lifestyle, conducting himself in a way that's destroyed himself. And that's a lot of things that currently is as society's been instructed. Society's not even been instructed, it's been constructed to where what? A lot of it's like with who was it? Daniel, I believe. Was like the dietary wise, people are what focus on the dainties, man. People want all the sweet things. I remember I was watching like I looked at like a TV show or something on like an advert on a movie, and I was like, bro, why is everyone eating fucking bacon for breakfast? Like, what the hell even happened? How did that even become a normal thing for everyone just to be yamming up bacon, Arnold, for breakfast? But then it's like these things are promoted, and then it will just weigh on the minds and then influence. And it's like the way you put it's like we get woken up to the truth. I remember it's like, bro, you smell like pork being cooked. That shit smells like a fucking dead body, man. That shit smells grim. But when people in the mindset where it's in the spirit, they're all about that because they just align with this place. It says what? The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And yeah, that's the thing, is gonna need to be done. Because why? It says even if the days aren't shortened, there'll be no flesh left to be saved. The way people are maneuvering within society now, they're completely destroyed, man. They're completely bugged out. They don't know what the hell's going on. And then no desire, aspiration towards working things out. They usually just kind of go to, they'll see one, they won't even read the news. They'll see like a tweet with like a headline, or they'll see something, something on social media. They can Instagram post, with just a picture and a few lines of text, and they'll think they're informed and know what's going on, but they ain't got to do no research or going into nothing. And then what? It just makes them, denizens of this current world where they're basically just gonna be in here, getting mashed up. They're just gonna be victims essentially. Ecclesiastes 10 and 4. Actually, let's just go to 5. It says, "There's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place." And yeah, so this what? Folly set in great dignity. Now is that time. Now it's really the people that are maximizing what they can get from this society are those aligned with folly, man. It's funny because it's like there was a point in time where journalism or whatnot was something aspirational. People going out, researching, finding out, and digging up what's going on with the world, report it back to the people. But that shit ain't even that's got no that no one gives a fuck about that shit anymore. Because now it's all about the folly, man. They'll care more about someone that can act the role of that reporter. They can act a compelling story about a guy going out and find what's it, bringing down the mob, or researching and exposing some government secret. Don't the actor that's putting it together, or the guy writing a story about it, that'll be someone who draws them in. But then the actual things happening, that it's that shit ain't mean nothing to them. Because why? They've all these things, the elites have pushed that a whole vibration upon the people to where those things hold no weight. They hold no value. Now it's all about the folly, man. The bread and circus. It says this, Isaiah 47, something verse 8. We can even start from 7. It says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. And yeah, thou that are given to pleasures, that's a key part of this new Babylon, man. This daughter of Babylon. This place is heavily given to pleasures. And then the pleasures are to your own destruction, man. Ain't even like you're building a house, you're establishing your generation or whatever. Something that's meant to please you in that way. These guys just going out and going to be performing myriad sex acts upon one another and catching all kinds of diseases and then dropping dead, man. Or hopping up on drugs to the point where, you know, they're bugging out, man. They're losing their mind. The dwellers can say in his heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come upon thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, for the great abundance of thine enchantments. And yeah, sorceries and enchantments are a big part of what get people, man. And that's been modernized, man. With this, you know, you have the Neo Furum, the smartphone, but then what? It's being used by Esau. He's maximized how that can basically fry and overload the circuits of the average person's brain, man. All these different things. It's when you deal with these algorithms on like social media, they're basically what? Made to get you hooked, to get you to stay. It's like all of it. I remember forever ago, it used to be like, even with like Google results or something, you would have like 10 results on a page. You'd scroll, and then you'll click next. Now with all these social media platforms, you just swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe. Even if you could be swiping on something, and then you might be following things that are purely educational, but then they'll just throw in some shit. There'll be like suggestions on whatnot or adverts or whatever. They'll just throw in their own shit. It's like you can't even, regardless what you do, you can't even what's the term? You can't mold it, or you can't adjust the experience, so you're not getting, assaulted and overwhelmed, man. Your senses are getting overwhelmed, because that's the whole point of what they're designed to do, man. They're meant to just like fry and because that's why it's TikTok is to the point where you don't even search. You just open the app. You might have a few things you follow. You might have whatever, and then you just be swiping, and it will just be hitting you with whatever it wants to hit you with. And then you ain't even like your most you can do is check out a guy's check out their page, or like, or whatever. But then it's basically dictating it to you, and that's how now it's what's being advertised, a certain kind of lifestyle, man, certain activities. And then that's why even with the article I was reading, it's talking about all these orgies. There's gonna be people like, damn, I want to have a part in that. So I want to go to an orgy. I want to, I would love to just be making money, in the daytime. This guy, what did he say? He said like, oh, we're restructuring. Oh, you see, we're restructuring thingy by day, and then we're restructuring money and thingy, because he said we're restructuring blah 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 by day. Oh yeah, so they're bringing about overturning traditional paradigms in their private lives, just as they do in the technology world they rule. These men are thinking they're on top of the world. that's selling, that's making it appealing. But what's the end result gonna be, man? Because even those guys in that, when it switches over to what the full on B system, they're invested, man. They're gonna want in, man. They're gonna be like, yo, let's get it first. They're gonna be thinking they're on a higher level because they're getting it before everyone else. That's what it says. What, rich and poor, free and bond. Then guys are gonna be thinking, yeah, I'm on a higher level. They might even be like pay grades, man. They might be the Twitter blue version of it, where man will think, oh, okay, yeah, you can get higher. You get promoted. You get prioritized. You get this, that. Why? There's gonna be that appeal. Because why? They're invested within the system. They're going to be thinking, oh, we're getting special treatment. We're on a higher level. That's why you have a lot of people already implanting themselves with that charagma, saying, oh, they put in their ID, they put in their medical information, they put in like a bank card and just got the details of it on their charagma, on their eye screen. So what? Them thing can essentially they think it's something special, man. It puts them on a higher level. But it says what? For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And really, that from the elite level, these guys are really that knowledge has perverted them. They're thinking they're gonna somehow overthrow what's been written, what's been said. What exists as prophecy, man. What needs to go down. They think they're gonna be able to circumvent or work it in their favor. They're gonna slip themselves in. But then what? You've been perverted. It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, that thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Yeah. You're basically gonna get caught slipping, man. You're gonna get caught slipping in the midst of thinking like everything's going as you wish. And that's where, this folly comes in. Because why? That's part of the slip. These guys are all, completely confounded, man. They ain't got no clue what's going on. But yeah. Yeah, I'll leave it there. So yeah, shalom. Yeah, but shalom. Shalom.